Today's episode is how do I explain this one? I got the idea of it for it just a minute ago. It's going to be a topic that I don't think I've ever heard anybody cover, which is how condemned, according to the Bible, is a LGBTQ plus person. What does the Bible say specifically about that sin? And I wanted to get some of the other people's opinions on it because what I think most people who are outside of the Bible think is, well, the Bible says that I'm a lost sinner who can not be recovered, or that I'm condemned, and this is just the way I am. But the Bible says that I'm condemned. Or I think a lot of Christians also kind of say, well, their sin is horrible, which it is, but they also kind of put this like it's worse than mine kind of attitude onto it. And I wanted to make that very clear. Exactly where does it sit?
A lot of people have double standards when it comes to sexual sin. Christopher Yuan, who used to be, lived that life. He now is a speaker. He goes around the country traveling and speaking. And he wrote in his book, Holy Sexuality, about one time he was doing a speaking engagement. And afterwards, a woman comes up to him and says, "Oh, Dr. Yuan, I'm so concerned about my gay son. Please pray for him." And she basically says, in effect, "I wish he could be like my straight son. Him and his girlfriend are about to have a baby." And do you see what I mean? It's like Christopher was like, double standard. Okay, you're this guy, his wife should be about to have a baby. He's living in sin too, but people overlook it. People wink at that sin. At fornication, okay? Fornication. The Bible says flee fornication. He shouldn't have a girlfriend who's pregnant. He should have a wife who's pregnant. And
so Ryan, if you hold on to your handles real quick.
My what?
If you hold on to your horses real quick. Hold on.
Okay, so, I'm done.
We're going to get there.
I'm done.
You are absolutely right. Because again, you're making partially the same mistake that I'm talking about.
And what's that?
Being judgmental about it.
Well, no, I was just saying that people have double standards. They
do. But you're also pointing out the judgmental side of it. And again, nothing you said right there is wrong. I'm not saying your doctrine is wrong, but I'd say your attitude is. And I'd say a lot of people's attitude is wrong on this subject.
Okay.
So that's what I want to get to is I think on Saturday we oftentimes have a lot of atheists call in, and I don't know if they're going to be coming in tonight or not. Some things may have changed. But the main thing I want to get to is we got to change our attitude on this topic. Mm-hmm. So the general consensus, right? When God sees a people straying in the worst ways possible, regardless of if that's homosexuality or normal sexual sins or any other sin under the planet, when a nation in the Bible strays away from how they're supposed to be, when they start sinning in some horrible way,
he would, in the Old Testament, he would send them a prophet to preach to them.
He would send somebody to say, stop what you're doing, go this way instead.
Yeah, he'd send a prophet.
He didn't say, you are condemned, fire and brimstone, immediately, bam. He, every single time, says, I'm going to, pull these people out. I'm going to try and rescue them. I'm going to warn them. I'm going to give them another chance. And that's the amazing thing about our Father. He's just, but he's also caring and mercy and grace. And so what I'm getting at is when we look at an LGBTQ, whether we're Christian looking at them or if it's a non-Christian looking at the way the Bible judges them, the thing we got to remember is, yes, they're sinning. But so are we.
Yes.
And the Bible says, sin sends you to hell. End of story.
Yes.
It doesn't talk about which one's worse or which one's not. For the most part. Mainly because it doesn't matter. Sin sends you to hell. Like, okay, so murdering is worse than lying. Okay? But that doesn't matter because lying throws you in hell. And that's the big point, is it's about understanding we've all fallen short of the glory of God. And I've seen particularly many homosexuals pretty much come up to me and say, oh, well, the Bible says that I'm condemned. And they kind of smile about it. Kind of like, how you don't accept me.
Right.
And the Bible says you're condemned. It also said I was condemned.
We all
are. Join the club. You're not special.
Yeah, we all are. Hey, Christian, good to see you. All of you on the track. Thank you for coming. Yeah, all of us. All have sinned and come short of the glory of God. All.
And every time in the Bible there's a city that is going down this horrible path, God doesn't judge them right away. He warns them of the coming doom. And so I kind of wanted to do that today. I wanted to, if they pop in, that's great. If they don't, then okay. But I wanted to say, realize that you guys aren't specially condemned. You're condemned just like everybody else. And it is your own devices that are destroying you, not God.
Yeah.
And we've had some, Alphabet Gang members come in here and talk about transitioning and other things. And we'll get into that in a minute if they want to come in. And so, join the club. You're not special. It's not the sin that you do that condemns you. It's sin in general that condemns you. Not one sin worse than any other. That's the second thing I want to clear up. Some people would say, oh, so God's going to send me to hell just because of who I am. No. God doesn't send you to hell. God made hell for the demons. God didn't make hell for you. However, if you fall short of the glory of God, then you can't be with him. It's just that simple. It's not God punishing you, it is your own consequences coming back to you. And God decides to save you from those consequences. It was before people call in, I want them to know, before we start saying, oh yeah, I mean, homosexuality is bad, which it is, and before we start saying, transgenderism is a mental illness, which it is, we got to clarify as well that, and I'll let you in just a second, Dustin, we have to clarify just as well that being a straight person and sleeping around is also bad and going to mess you up and, is enough to send you to hell. Okay, we're going to let Dustin in real quick. Just want to remind you of the format tonight. This is mine and Ryan's show, and we're letting you on as a guest, and then we will exit as a new guest comes in, regardless of which side or opinion that person is. So, but yeah, go ahead.
Well, I don't necessarily disagree with you, so I'll just hop off.
Go ahead.
Do you understand what it is that, I mean, you got to understand, like, the LGBTQ, quote unquote, is the Baphomet, right? You get that.
The what?
It's the spirit of the Baphomet.
I don't know
Okay, now these people, you don't know what the Baphomet is?
Not by name.
The pentagram and the goat and all that.
Demonic?
Not necessarily. The Baphomet is not necessarily a demon. It's more like a symbol. Okay, the Baphomet is like, it's like a symbol of camaraderie. Like, we understand each other, right? So like the LGBTQ is all inclusive because the Baphomet is all inclusive. Right? It's a club. It's a secret initiation. It's like a thumb nod that we both, we're both on the same page.
Well,
right?
They like to refer to each other as family.
Yeah, I mean, they're not the only ones who do that. A whole bunch of people do
No, they're not. They're not. But again, like, you got to understand that there are certain factions, right? Now, if you think that this is because these people are stupid, it is not how this works. Okay, these people are not stupid. They may be confused, but they're not stupid. Okay, they just don't understand that the trade that they're making is not in their interest, right? That there's better trades that could be made. But then there's the other end of the equation. The devil always comes and collects, right? So you're selling your soul, your life energy with a multitude of people in order to affect a change. And as so must things change in reality, so a change must be done in you. And guess what? They do not live with non-conformity. So if you are a part of the group, you must dress this way, you must act this way. And the one thing that allows for a differentiation of rank is what is known as a ritual of humiliation. The more you are willing to degrade yourself, the more victim status you achieve. That is how this whole thing works.
I don't think
I've never heard anybody.
I don't think most of them. Hold on, Ryan. I don't think most of them think that way. I think most of them see it as, this is my identity, this is who I am, and then they fall into these things. I don't think most of them are that self-aware of their own flaws. Just like most of us.
Ryan, I'm not talking about the people, right? What I'm talking about is the intelligence that uses them. If you can agree that God is a greater intelligence than yourself, then there's also other intelligence that are greater than yourself. And these people fall under influence, and they ask. The key word is they ask, right? They invite it in. It's all inclusive. We all accept each other around here. Anyway, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, it's that idea of, you're going to have a master. You can either actively choose your master, or you can let your master be chosen for you. And I can tell you right now, if you actively choose your master, you're going to be better off than if you let your master be chosen for
you. Again, like, it's not like there's multiple masters. There's just different facets of the groups. There are people that are interested in certain things in life that are considered taboo. And if you want to find groups of people that are into the same things as you, you have to submit some form of sacrifice, tribute. I mean, the ticket's not free, right? You're either trading your soul for an all-inclusive pass, or you have something of value that they need in order to get somebody else to trade their soul. but the currency is your soul, and you lose it bit by agreements, right? You have intrusive thoughts. These intrusive thoughts are subjected by a voice that comes from a place that you do not know. But the more you become familiarized with the voice, the more agreements you make with this voice, the less and less autonomy you have over your own flesh. That is how this whole thing works.
Yeah. We're in agreement. We just we see it in slightly different lights.
I don't know. No, I mean, it's easy to miss the forest through the trees. Some people don't understand the agreement at large. The only thing they understand is the benefit that's presented, right? They don't understand. People don't see beyond the thing that they want to see. If there's an object of like great desire, you're not going to see the background. You're not going to see the foreground. You're going to be focused on what you want. You're going to go towards your goal, right? And that's exactly what happened to Eve, isn't it? She was presented with something. She thought it was better than the thing she already had. She blocked out the foreground, she blocked out the background, and she went for her goal, which was the fruit.
To have the knowledge of good and evil without understanding the consequences.
Interesting analogy, Christian.
What was his?
You said it sounded like Eyes Wide Shut.
Well, Eyes Wide Shut is
sounding like Eyes Wide Shut.
Eyes Wide Shut is a person on YouTube, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
I don't know if that's a channel or not.
Oh, okay. Well, there's a movie that Stanley Kubrick's last film was called.
Maybe it's a movie. I know. There's quite a few things named Eyes Wide Shut.
Okay, I didn't know if he thought he might be.
Well, but no, I mean, have you ever looked at the checkered floor?
What do you mean? Just like tiles on the floor?
Like a lot of performance theaters usually have like a checkered floor, kind of like a chessboard or a checkers board.
Okay.
Right. I mean, there are these symbols, and they're universal between these groups. So the checkerboard usually indicates like the Illuminati. The Illuminati usually goes with an all-seeing eye, right? Then you have like skull and bones groups, and they're usually associated with numbers, right?
Yeah.
And then you have, I mean, there are these different factions, right? I mean, there is an element of it that kind of seems like a movie, right? But the other end of the equation is that it's made to, because that's where you get the misdirection, and that's how you end up with plausible deniability. The secret isn't that these things are happening. They want you to know that these things are happening. The secret is who the hell is doing it.
Yeah.
That's the secret. That's the whole thing here. Like when that secret's revealed, you're going to be so shocked and astonished that such a pathetic, witless, and spineless creature held so much power over the human race. You're not going to believe it.
It doesn't take much to fool a human.
No, it doesn't. Not at all.
And that's the thing is, even let's just say you don't believe in the Illuminati or something like that, because some people don't. We all agree there's corruption out there.
There's what? Corruption?
Corruption.
Yes, there is.
Some people don't believe in. Look, you don't have to believe in the word Illuminati. All words are made up, Jeremiah. Right? The concept behind the word is what matters, right? So like when I say Illuminati, I just mean secret group. People that have, and really it boils down to this concept, right? A well-informed but small group will always have the advantage over an uninformed larger group. It's just the way this works. Like that's how a spell works. If I know that there's a language or a code that I can write on the wall that looks like a spell, and people are going to like stare at it and marvel at it, and they think it means this, but the reality is you and I know what it really means, right? So if I'm telling you to take the rock and move it from the window to, I don't know, the downstairs cabinet drawer, because the words on the wall have something to do with a stone, and eventually it's going to look profound if you do this, it gives me an error of power and the idea that I have the ability to affect a change without anything in between, because you and I know what's happening.
Yeah.
But they haven't got a clue. It's a trick, right? All magic is centered around a trick.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Interesting. Back to what Jeremiah was saying about identity. Yeah, I had that problem back when I was living in that life. I identified. I said, that's who I am. So if someone preached against the sin, I thought they were preaching against me personally. I had to realize that that's not who I am. Who I am is God's child, and that's my identity. My identity comes from Christ. My identity comes from God. It doesn't come from that. I had to learn that. God had to teach me that.
The people who try to find themselves the most end up losing themselves the most. But the people who lose themselves for Christ's namesake, or translation, the people who put themselves into a movement that cares about them, aka the only one in that movement who really cares about you is God, you end up finding more of your identity that way than any other way.
Sure. Yeah, that's very true. You know, I can remember my own, like when I finally embraced my sexuality, it's like I was joining a family, you know, and I was able to hang around other people who were like-minded, who were had the same issues that I had. And you feel included, you feel accepted. Yeah, you feel
home, but the only dilemma is they don't actually have your best interest in mind.
True. It felt like home, but it was a false home that I was living in. I was in a false home.
This is a story. Do any of you know who JoJo Siwa is?
Who? JoJo Siwa?
JoJo Siwa. As a child star, she used to wear lots of bright bows. And then she's been growing up and doing a lot of weird stuff recently. I'll fill you in if you don't. So she's around Gen Z's age, but she started as like a little kid on a beauty pageant show or something like that, and then made her own brand where she sold glittery bows. So she's always been in the spotlight on the stage her entire life. When she turned 18, she went and said, "I'm gay, I'm this, I'm whatever," and like just started bouncing around in those different identities. And I don't mean whatever in a rude way. I'm just saying she did bounce around a lot in what she said she was, between, you know, gay or bi or all the different ones.
Is this your daughter? Who?
This is just a child star who has grown up on the internet.
Oh.
How can you have a daughter that turned 18?
I don't know. I was confused. I was like, what? What are you talking about?
Anyway, so the point is, this woman turned gay, announced it to the world, posted a lot of weird content on the internet. Nothing adult or so, but just weird, you know, more worldly. And then she ended up changing back to being more conservative, not political party, but just like that act of, you know, being a little bit more conservative. And she says that like she's straight now, or maybe she's still bi, but she's dating another man now. And so the LGBTQ party, and this is what I'm getting at, hates her for it. When she
talking about Taylor Swift?
No, Google JoJo Siwa if you want.
How do you spell Siwa?
I'm not exactly sure. Just look up JoJo, J-O-J-O, and it'll come up. To get to my point, she was in the whole LGBTQ for a while. She then came back out of it in the name of looking for herself. Not I found God or anything. It was just I'm trying to figure out what I want in life. And the Alphabet Gang loved her when she said she was a lesbian. And then absolutely hated her guts when she said, "Oh, I'm dating a boy now." And that's my point, is they didn't have her best interests. They only cared about her for as long as she resembled them. And she's not saying, I hate...
How many... Do you think that it's possible some of these people are actually straight and they're just saying it because they know it'll help their career?
Yeah, there's definitely some of those. I couldn't point to them. I always thought Dylan Mulvaney was somebody who said he was trans, but not really. But then leaned into it a little too aggressive for me to know either way. Do you know who Dylan Mulvaney is?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the reason the Budweiser ran under.
First TikTok was day one of transitioning to a girl, and I've already cried 3 times, and like it looked like comedy, and this guy was a comedian, so we all thought, oh, ha ha ha, making fun of the gays, and then he just stuck with it, and now if you look, he's had like surgeries and everything, like talked to the president as a transgender, like, and you're like, joking, right? Like, he looks like he's joking. He sounds like a comedian still, but maybe he's making enough money, he doesn't want to tell anybody. Anyway, what I would add to that is I think there's a lot of people who have been deceived and they think they're trans, but in all reality, they're just looking for love and they don't know how to find it.
Right.
Well, I'd imagine there are a large number of those people, but how many people do you think are just saying they're trans because they think it will improve their career?
I can't say a number. I'm sure they're out there. If you want money, it has been easier for creators to become successful if they're trans or something, at least in the last couple of years. It's been easier like to get into the government, hilariously enough. If you pull out some minority card, not just the gay and trans, but if you pull out a minority card, whatever that may be, you're more likely to get in. So I can totally see a white straight male being like, man, if I want to get into some kind of opportunity here, I need to say I'm a woman or something.
If you want authority, you're going to have to humiliate yourself and prostrate yourself in the name of Baal. And in order to do that, you have to exude these qualities that are in the Baphomet. That is both masculine and feminine features.
Yeah. The thing I would veer away from when talking to somebody from the Alphabet Gang is I would veer away from oh, this is intentional. The powers that be, the somebody who's controlling you, who's smarter, because oftentimes they don't know. They don't know that. And
what I mean, but I'm not talking to somebody. I'm not talking to somebody in that situation. I'm talking to you. I'm trying to illustrate, right? Like, I mean, this is what's happening. I mean, do you disagree? Do you think that you really think? I mean, you believe that, Jeremiah? You believe these people think they were born in the wrong body? You don't think that they're just trading something for the idea of comfort and security because they're afraid? You don't think maybe that's a possibility?
No, I totally agree with you. But the thing is, I was simply elaborating. It's hard to get them to see that. It's hard to get a spiritually dead person to see what a spiritually alive person sees. It's like trying to feed a dead person a cheeseburger. They aren't going to wake up and be like, oh, thanks. It's just not going to happen.
You know how Kent Hovind likes to say, it's like describing color to a blind man.
Or ice cream to an Ethiopian.
I think they have ice cream there.
I got to be fully honest. I don't really understand that last one. You feed ice cream to anybody, they're going to love it unless they're lactose intolerant.
But they wouldn't know until they tried it.
Yeah, I want to address the comment real quick. Billie Eilish being straight. I don't know if she's straight or bi. I don't know if I said straight. Same with JoJo Siwa. I'm not actually saying she's straight. I'm simply saying that she is dating a guy. And yeah, nobody. As far as JoJo Siwa goes, people aren't really liking her content as of recently. She's went through some weird stages. I mean, you can Google all of this. I'm not making anything up. The LGBTQ party. The LGBTQ party has hated on people the moment they do something that's outside of the interests of the party. They claim to be this party of love and acceptance, but the moment you question the party in any way, the moment that your interests don't quite align with the party 100%, they hate on you for it. Now, I'm not saying the party.
Look at Fetterman. Look at what's happening to Fetterman.
Yeah, I don't like using the word party. It makes it sound like some sort of political thing.
Yeah, well, let me be clear, because I see what you're saying, and even Sable's confused here. He's saying party question mark. Okay, it's not, as I said, it's not as organized as Dustin might explain. There's a few people who are controlling things behind the scenes. Sure, I'm going to put that over there. But to address the other people in the room, there is a mass majority of the group, not everybody. There's lots of homosexuals who are generally loving, accepting people, but the massive majority of the group generally have certain traits. We have another person coming in, so Dustin, you've had your turn. I'm gonna let you leave, and I'm gonna let somebody else in real quick, and we'll see how.
Okay. Catch you later.
Okay. Thank you, Dustin. Respectful of other people's opinions. Yeah.
Oh no, I don't give a fuck about your opinions. You're a bigot.
Oh well. Bam.
I don't think he should be allowed in here anymore because all he does is cause division and derision.
Believe me, I know I'm a man.
Yeah, how do you know? Have you seen your chromosomes?
He's asking some funny questions.
Ryan, I don't want to hear from you either, dude. You
I don't
always
care
have
what you want to hear. It's not your show. Hey, it's not your show. We can boot you at any moment.
Ryan, don't feed into him.
Ryan, why do you have so much pent-up rage? Is that due to your identity you're hiding?
My identity is child of God.
Your identity is you're repressing your homosexuality, and that's pathetic.
Ryan, stop addressing him. Just stop.
Yeah, I mean, hey, don't let me on the show and don't say stuff about your personal lives if you don't want it brought up.
Let's Brother Pike in real quick.
Hey, brother Christian, long time no see.
Your mic's muted. Howdy. He is dead quiet.
Hey.
Oh, wait. There you are. And now your mic's muted again.
Oh yeah, I just mute it when I'm not talking because I got kids in the background.
Oh, okay. I think your screen's lagging, but yeah, what do you want to talk about real quick? We're mainly staying on the topic of LGBTQ and stuff, but yeah, if you have an aspect you want to bring to that.
Speaking of LGBTQ, that guy that was just on seemed kind of gay, didn't he?
What do you mean by that?
Oh, just in the insulting sense.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing. He said something about a certain group of people maybe not knowing what ice cream is, and he was like, "That's racist because you're inferring this, which infers that, which infers." And I'm like, bro, it's possible that certain groups of people around the world don't know what ice cream tastes like. Doesn't mean I'm better than that person. To be racist means that you believe you're better than somebody. Just because they don't know what ice cream is doesn't mean their intelligence is a certain way or anything. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a weird. People kind of just call you anything these days.
Hello, Dave.
Are you fucking there or what? Where's this Cruston cunt? Get that Dustin fuckwit on. Come on.
I'm sorry, what?
I said get that Cruston fuckwit on. I want to talk to Dustin. He's a fucking idiot.
Well, if you want to talk to Dustin, Dustin's show is Wednesday. So Wednesday around 9 o'clock, you can talk to him. So this is my show particularly. He was just popping on as a guest.
All right, let me talk to the Lispy queer. Ryan, why don't you come out the closet, you gay cunt?
Okay, sir, I'm going to have to ask you to be a little bit more respectful on our show.
Yeah, you're being very agitative.
Well, agitated is fine. Just with the language. I mean, we're trying to be a more family
Christian channel and you're using foul language, Dave. We don't need you to use that kind of language.
What are you talking about, respectful, you dumb cunt?
Okay.
Kick him out.
I'm kicking him. Guys, I love to talk to you guys, but I'm looking for an intelligent conversation. It is okay to disagree with me. It is okay to call me delusional. Just please don't cuss me out unreasonably so we can't have a conversation. And please don't do massive amounts of interruptions. I saw Iron Gauntlet just left the queue. I was going to let him in, but apparently he heard my requirements and said, never mind.
Unless, do you consider the R word a slur? I'm guessing.
As in mentally challenged?
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I mean, I'd say it has its place, but for the most part, yeah, I mean, it can be considered a slur.
Okay, where does it have its place?
I mean, I've been told I've misused the R word, but respectfully, like, there have been times I've talked about it in an actual setting where I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm referring to, like, the level of someone's intelligence in an actual legitimate way. Like, I have a sister who's mentally challenged. At certain times, I have talked to her about certain things. I'm not being rude to her. I love my sister. But I have expressed to what degree of intelligence she has. She's pretty down there sometimes.
Oh, so you call your mentally challenged sister the R slur?
Not anymore, but when I was younger,
okay.
I used to more. But again, not in a bad way. Just the words changed over time, and now it's less acceptable. So as I said, like it may still have a use somewhere, but for the most part, yeah, I wouldn't accept it. But let me see these comments real quick.
Well, again, that's why we kind of came in here hot, because you were talking about LGBTQ stuff, and you're just talking from like a place of ignorance, I'd say.
What have I said that's particularly ignorant?
Well, first, let's just bring up Dylan Mulvaney. You said that she transitioned just to get more popular when it's just like, that's not why people transition. No one's going to uproot their entire identity to do that. That's just not a thing that happens.
Well, so this is speculation. As I said, I don't know if Dylan Mulvaney is serious or not about this. I used to think Dylan was completely joking about it. If you look at some of his first videos, you gotta agree with me. They look like they could be jokes. They look like they could.
I don't understand what the joke would be.
Just general mockery of the other side. But as I said, they look like they could be. But as it went on, I'm like, oh wait, serious about this. As I said, that's speculation. I'm not saying I know for a fact. It's not like I have some secret chat with that I can show you or something. I'm saying I speculate. And I would say there are people who've changed massive parts of their identity outside of LGBT. There are other people who make an entire fake identity, kind of like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, for content making.
In what way did he do that? Because I don't know.
How do I put this?
I mean, he got famous and then like acted like a famous person?
Not just acting like a famous person. No, it's this idea of making a persona. That guy who's like a very toxic male. I mentioned him on one of the other streams. What's his name? He smokes big cigars and says that a man should carry around a sword and whatnot. He says a lot of stupid stuff like that. I'm trying to think of his name.
Like a manosphere guy or what?
He's a very toxic male. I'll say that. He's like, I don't stand by him in any means, but I'm trying to remember his name. He's bald.
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate.
Well, yeah, he's a rapist and human trafficker. So,
so here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Andrew Tate puts on a show according to whose broadcast he's on. There are times when people will talk about who Andrew Tate is behind the scenes, and they'll say that before they go live, Andrew will say, hey, how angry do you want me to be? How controversial do you want me to be? Is it okay if I curse? Is it okay if I don't? And then he'll set parameters and then get on the show, and he's an actor. And he has this persona about himself. Now, again, I don't condone Andrew Tate, but I'm saying there are lots of actors out there, away from Dylan Mulvaney, who change their appearance constantly to be something. For example, Larry the Cable Guy, very non-controversial person. His whole thing is you don't actually know his name. When he plays in a movie, it's Tom Mater from Cars, played by Larry the Cable Guy. That's not his name. That's his persona.
It's his stage name, but
yeah, it's a stage.
Okay, but we're getting.
Is potentially something like that. That's all my accusation is. I'm not saying I can know for 100%.
So, how would that relate to every other trans person ever who's not famous?
I'm not saying all of anybody does anything. To say everybody does would be a massive statement that could not be proved and very easily disproven. I said earlier that when I say the general party or the general group, obviously there are people who don't fit that narrative.
Well, that's kind of my point. Is like everybody in the LGBTQ community do not think the same, do not act the same. They just happen to share that part of their identity.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those where it's like,
go ahead.
Where it's just like, what's the point of bringing up that person and saying they trans for this reason? Like, why speculate is my question.
There are lots of things that individual members do of the LGBT group that I don't have a problem with. Like, they eat breakfast, they live their lives, they go to work. I don't have any problem with these things, so I'm not going to bring those up. There are lots of generally good people in the group. That's not my problem. My problem is that there are certain characteristics that the majority follow that aren't good.
Like what?
For example, a lot of them, again, not all of them, have certain sexual perversions or things about them that I find really weird. Like, why do you need to talk about your sexual orientation out on the streets for an entire month? Nobody else does that.
Okay. Answer me. Do you think being trans has anything to do with sex and sexuality?
Yes, changing your gender has a lot to do with your
No.
sexuality.
It doesn't actually.
Going from male to
Sexuality is
female has a lot to do with your sexuality. I don't know how it doesn't.
technically, I mean, no. Like being transgender has nothing to do with sex. It just doesn't. Like, are you aware of that fact?
How?
How does it? Okay, how does it affect sex?
Well, to keep it simple, if you go through a surgery and change your equipment, that's a lot.
Oh, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about being trans. I'm not talking about
people,
like having surgery.
Well, trans people oftentimes do that.
Okay, well, that's not what we're talking about. Just the act of being trans, not having surgery. Being trans, you don't have to. You don't have to have a sex change operation to be trans, right?
No, not to call yourself trans, but
so hold on, wait. You
on.
think that if you have the surgery, that makes you more validly trans?
No, you can't be a valid trans. You can't, in my opinion. See, there are people that make me angry for saying certain things, but that's the whole thing is we gotta.
Yeah, but you're denying people's identities and lives and putting them in danger.
And I could say that you're denying people's actual truth. And
I'm not. I'm believing the identity they wish to live as. I'm accepting it.
Yeah, and I'm saying that you're accepting their lies and hurting them for it.
Well, I think you're doing the same thing being a Christian and evangelizing. So.
Well, exactly. So
you're actively harming people. They're not.
An interesting problem that I find is two people from completely opposite opinions oftentimes feel the same way about it. We both feel like the other person is spreading lies.
One of us is correct, though, factually.
Yes, only one of us can be correct. Only one of us can be correct. I believe it's me, you believe it's you. But
I have facts to base mine on, you have faith.
I have facts to base mine on.
You don't, but...
I mean, okay, so let's just say you said you have facts to base yours on. How can a person transition? There's no fact on that.
Because they say, this is my identity. That's all it takes.
And if they said they're a chicken nugget, then they become a chicken nugget?
If they wanted to identify as such, sure.
Do you not see the lunacy in that?
Well, you're using an example that just wouldn't exist.
Okay, well, so here's an example that does exist. I had somebody come up to me and say they were cake gender. They were 100% serious.
They were trolling you. That's the answer. They were trolling.
No, like I saw them on a regular basis. They truly believe they were cake gender, and I looked it up. It's a real thing on the internet. Okay, it is when someone says that they don't really fit with a gender. They're more like light and fluffy, and just nice to be around, and so they're more like cake, and so they call themselves cake gender. They were 100% dead serious. But here's the thing: a lot of people laugh at that statement or say, "Oh no, they're trolling you." I know for a fact they weren't. They were upset with me when I said I'm not going to call you that, and they were like really pissed about it. And
what did they ask you to call them?
I forget. It had something to do with cake, but
they wanted you to use specific pronouns, and you.
I don't think we got to the pronouns. I just shut them down before they could.
Okay, well, listen. If somebody wants to live their life that way and they're not hurting anyone else, you got to let them do it.
Yeah, but they wanted to force me to live a certain way.
Well, no, that's not forcing you to live a certain way. They're asking you for respect and you refuse to give it to them. And you're using a crazy example that I don't believe, but I'll take your word on it.
We have the right over our own selves. If I say, no, I don't want to participate, I have that right. And that's my thing, is they were trying to force me. They grabbed a hold of the teachers and tried to force me to act a certain way around them. And I said, no, I choose not to participate.
So you refused to respect somebody and then you were ostracized from the community. Yeah, that makes sense. Like if you're not gonna respect people, why should anybody respect you, is my point.
Well, but I could say the same thing about them. They wanted to be called something along the lines of cake, and I refused.
They wanted you to respect their identity.
I'm just saying there's no facts here. The fact is they're not cake, they're human.
Says you. I mean, what they're using it as an example. Like it's just, that's the way they want to identify. They're not saying they're literally a piece of cake. They're saying that is something that represents them in their own heart, however you want to call it.
But that's not
facts. You just cannot accept it.
That's not facts. You said you have facts to back this up. And then I said,
okay, well, you should respect other people's identities because we're all Americans, and do you believe in life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness?
Not at other people's expense.
That's
You're
not
right
hurting
to be not-
anybody. Jeremiah, that's not hurting anyone other than it hurts your feelings.
If you're forcing me to do something, that's at my expense. You're making me.
Nobody's forcing you to do anything. Were you forced to do it, or did you say, I'm not going to do it? And then you were ostracized. There were consequences to your actions.
They
That's
were
my
attempting
point.
to force me. That person wanted to force me.
Okay, that person, I don't agree with them. But again, you did
Okay.
not respect, you're not showing respect, and then you got disrespect in return.
So hold on. We're making some groundwork. You would agree that, let's just say, for sake of argument, I'm being rude and I don't like it and I'm not bending to it. You would agree that they shouldn't force me.
I mean, through like bodily force, no. But there are going to be, you are going to get consequences
Yes,
for
but
disrespecting people.
there shouldn't be force. I shouldn't be thrown in jail for disagreeing with
No
them.
one's saying you should.
Yeah, well, I'm just making it very clear. Some people would say you should.
No one says that.
Some people would say that voicing my own opinion is hate speech, and therefore I should be thrown in jail.
When you,
There
if
are-
you
there are
argue
people out
that
there
people
who-
should not be able to express themselves in the way they wish, then that would be hate speech, yes.
Well, but here's the thing. I'm trying to express myself in the way I wish, and they're saying I should go to jail for it.
No one, okay, first of all, no one's saying you should go to jail. But my point
Some-
being, there are going
some
to be
people are.
social, there are going to be social consequences when you act antisocial.
See, my problem isn't with you. My problem is there are people who are trying to force me to do
Can I
something.
have an
don't
example
want
of
to
one of
do.
these people?
Do I have an example? I mean, I could probably pull one up, but like,
Okay, do
I
it.
mean, I will let you be the judge in your own time.
Okay, then okay. If you're not going to show any
I've
proof, I'm
told
going to say
you-
you're lying. I'm going to just have to say you're lying because you're not proving it. So there you go. I do not accept the argument. So my point being, if you are being antisocial in a group, you're going to be ostracized from the group. If they do not want you around because you're not going to respect somebody's identity, then guess what? You don't get to be a part of that group. Sorry.
I don't want to be a part of their group
Well, then why were you involved in it?
because I was at school, a public place where individuals had to go and bump into each other.
Yeah. So
You
you,
wanna be
and
a
you were
part of
being
that
you were
person's group.
treated correctly for being antisocial.
I wasn't being antisocial though.
You were. You said, I'm not going to respect your identity, so no. And that's being antisocial.
There's different groups and different cliques in school. I don't have to be a part of every single one of them.
Well, then, exactly. And you were being ostracized from that group.
No. They were trying to get the teachers to ostracize myself from society in general.
They were trying to get you
Everybody-
kicked out of school. They were trying to get you kicked out of the school.
I don't know exactly what the consequences.
I mean, I
that the
listen.
person-
I know
or they were
y'all
just
have a
trying-
bad habit of playing the victim, but like, this isn't a good story, man. This is not a
They,
good
they were
argument.
just trying to force me to abide by their names, and the teacher's like, "How hard would it be?" And I was like, "I'm not doing that." And
Yeah, okay, so you're antisocial and you got ostracized as such. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. What happened?
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to move on to the next person.
Okay,
My problem is, and you can do a quick Google search. If you're searching for the truth, you can find this. There are people out there, a considerable portion of the LGBTQ, who will say, if you don't do what I want you to do, then you should go to jail. Or your life should be threatened. And that's my point, is me disagreeing, me choosing to express myself can lead to lots of problems because they don't want me to express myself. I'm gonna let Sable in real quick.
Well, since you're bringing up cake gender again, I'm gonna read the entire paragraph I have on transgender. Transgender refers to someone who does not identify with their assigned sex at birth, and as such, people who identify as the following are trans, bigender, non-binary, demi-boy, demi-girl, two-spirit, gender fluid, etc. Furthermore, trans individuals do not need to physically transition, have the surgery, and that is perfectly valid and okay. The most common form of transition is socially transitioning, going by a different name and pronouns, albeit not everyone goes by a different name or pronouns upon socially transitioning.
Okay, I recognize that definition. Sounds like something I've heard before.
So, when we talked, you're like, one of your counter arguments were that people change their gender every day. That's gender fluid people, and they're perfectly valid and okay. But not everyone is gender fluid, but they are valid all the same.
Okay, so my point is with gender fluid people, right? or anybody in that case, is that there is no evidence for what makes them that way, that it is just their brain's whim that makes them that way. Now, some people change their whim every day. Some people are very consistent with the way they feel. But my point is, feelings do not constitute fact.
If it's your own identity and how you identify yourself, it is a fact of who you are as a human being.
It's a fact that you feel that way. But when it comes down to
Nigga. I identify as a demi-boy. You do not have the audacity or the right.
Oh my god, this is such a bad angle for me. I'm looking at my desktop. I need y'all to get like Google Hangouts or Discord or something, guys, so I can be on my desktop and do this. It would be way easier. So first of all, I want to go back to what y'all were talking about at the very beginning of the last stream, which is y'all were saying that JoJo Siwa and Billie Eilish were straight and people hated them for it now.
I didn't quite say straight. They could be bi or something, but
Jeremiah, you did say straight. You did say straight.
I have corrected myself several times. Let me put it that way. I was clarifying that they aren't necessarily straight. I'm not going to accuse them of being straight. And so even though I may have said it once, I did correct myself several times in that.
Okay. Well, either way, you said that they were both dating men and that people hated them for it now.
I don't know if Billie Eilish is still dating a guy. I don't.
Well, I don't. It doesn't matter really. I just want to say that like I googled. So I flat out I googled Billie Eilish straight, and then I googled JoJo Siwa straight. And while JoJo Siwa is dating a guy, JoJo Siwa still identifies as queer. And the closest I could find to somebody like saying, "Oh, I don't like these people," is a single article like from a Twitter, like linked from a Twitter post, saying that like, why are all these lesbians dating men? And to that I say they're not lesbians, they're just queer. So no, also to answer Dustin's question from that same stream, no, this isn't some kind of humiliation ritual. People just fuck who they want to fuck. Oh, sorry. People just date who they want to date. Sorry, I don't mean, I know y'all don't like the language, but.
Yeah. Well, Dustin was going down more of a conspiracy theory or, the powers that be. And it's a different conversation altogether. But yeah, I kind of stood up and said, well, even if that is true, the LGBTQ people wouldn't quite agree with that themselves. So just to clarify, we were categorizing that closer to a conspiracy theory than what the normal person thinks.
Okay, I'm gonna read something that Dustin said in chat. Dustin comments, "See how he clings to the gender identity like it's something to be protected, like the Baphomet. That's crazy. I don't even think their gender identity needs to be protected. I think that y'all need to stop making assumptions on how people think of other people based on their gender identity." Yeah, Dustin, you need to let me finish speaking before you comment, buddy.
Well, let's not get in a fight with Dustin in the chat because Dustin's not in the room. Let's Dustin be Dustin right now, and let's
immature, balding.
Let's talk right here.
Okay, for sure.
What I'm getting at whenever I say that I have certain problems with them is not everybody everywhere. I simply say that there's certain things that need to be acknowledged. For example, when they try to push their sexual understanding on other people. For whatever reason, this group oftentimes does that. I don't know of another group that does that much. That's my whole thing. But the LGBTQ group, those people, that community, if you will, Not everybody in that group. There are normal people who just want to live their lives within that group. But for the most part, that group has a high amount of people who are constantly trying to expose their sexuality to the world, and in my understanding, rub it in other people's faces.
Rub it in other people's faces. I mean, you
Yeah,
know,
feel like
would
focusing on their sexuality.
so would you agree with me that in in a historic sense, these kind of queer identities have been suppressed?
Yeah, I'd say in most cultures.
So now that we are in a time where these identities aren't as repressed and even accepted in society, don't you think now kind of this generation of queer people would be like, hey, yeah, I am gay. I'm gay. I'm super gay. I love being gay. You know, clip that, chat.
I hear that, but see, yeah, from my perspective, the Bible says certain things are sin. Lying is a sin. Stealing's a sin. Having straight sex outside of marriage is a sin. On top of all the other ones in there. I'm not trying to make this one separate. My thing is, if people started going out and saying it's completely fine to lie, let's all lie a lot, I would say no, that's not good. And we've actually addressed that. How, in my opinion, I think people are lying to other people's identities and trying to confirm that when I'm like, no, that's not helping them. And so, like, my thing is open acceptance of things that are unhealthy for you are not good. Now,
How
everybody lies from time to time. I get that. But if there was a campaign going on saying lying is good, I would be saying, no, it's not. Let's talk about it.
so how is being a queer person not healthy for you?
There's lots of different ways to answer that question. One, your body was just not designed for it. In many different ways.
Okay, well, bees shouldn't be able to fly, bud.
Huh?
Bumblebees shouldn't be able to fly, but they do. Like their bodies aren't supposed to be able to fly, but they do. That's just how nature works, bud.
Yeah, I hear that, but that's not what I'm talking about right now. What I'm talking about is the unhealthiness of it. Bees need to fly. That's healthy. That's great. That's the way they were designed. We can say all day they aren't able to or shouldn't be able to. It doesn't stop them. But what I am saying is, if you look at someone who is having a homosexual relationship, it hurts them. It doesn't help.
How so? You said that your body is designed for straight sex, I guess, but like how does being a gay person or like a lesbian